Good evening and welcome to the Candidates Forum presented and produced by the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. My name is Carrie Moon Dupree and I am president of the Northwest Wayne County League of Women Voters. I am also the moderator for this event. Tonight we welcome the candidates running for Plymouth Township Trustee. 11 candidates are running for 4 seats that are 4-year terms. The 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats will move on from the primary to the race in November. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization. We do not support or oppose any candidate running for office. The League does take positions on issues after study, so you may see our name attached to an issue that we are advocating or opposing. The League of Women Voters is where hands-on work to safeguard democracy leads to civic improvement. Membership is open to anyone who is at least 16 years old, and you can join through our websites. The League's main mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation in government. One of the ways we do that is by having forums such as this one tonight. The League also provides a nonpartisan voter guide, which can be found online at www.vote411.org. Only League personnel and the candidates are present for this forum. We solicit questions from the public in advance so that we could ask them at tonight's forum. Questions were screened for clarity, and those which included personal attacks on a candidate were eliminated. The views expressed in this forum are those of the candidates and not the League of Women Voters. All qualified candidates were invited, and 6 are here tonight. All the candidates have agreed to the format for tonight's forum, which is as follows. Each candidate will be allowed a 2-minute opening statement, a 2-minute response to all questions, and a 2-minute closing statement. The order the candidates speak was determined by a random selection process witnessed by the candidates before the recording of this forum. We will rotate the order of the candidate who responds to a question first. League member Jackie Peters produced this forum tonight and will be our timer. She will be holding up cards so that the candidates know when their time is up. The candidate must stop when the stop sign appears. And now we will get started with our forum. Let's begin with our opening statements. Bob, can you begin, please?
Thank you very much, Carrie and Jackie, and thank you to the League of Women Voters. My name is Bob Miller. I'm a Democrat, 25-year-old resident of Plymouth Township. I'm married. I hold a BS degree from Eastern and a master's degree in communication, also from Eastern. I've been an adjunct professor of communication with public speaking, intercultural communication, and radio broadcasting. And that brings me to the 35 years I have in commercial broadcasting in the U.S. Virgin Islands before moving to Plymouth. I have served 2 terms on the Board of Land Use Appeals of the United States Virgin Islands, and also 2 terms on the Alcohol Control Board of the United States Virgin Islands. I have a son, Patrick. He's an Iraq vet, 2 tours there, 1 grandson. And what I'm asking the folks to do and the voters is to shuffle the deck. We have almost half of the citizens of Plymouth Township, which are either Democrats or independents, and yet that's not reflected in our current board, and I'd like to see that change. I think that sort of winds up my opening statement, and I thank you again.
Thank you. John, your opening statement?
Hi, everyone. That's the way I begin all my Zoom meetings, whether it's with a judge, I'm in my law office of 39 years, or with Brian Kelly, who I'm on a Zoom meeting with twice a week with the Small Business Association of Michigan. I'm a Republican asking to be reelected, asking for your vote as trustee for 3 main reasons. One, I'm proven the only candidate running for trustee this year with perfect attendance in person at all township board meetings. Two, trusted, only trustee who has always voted in the best interest of the people of the Plymouth Township. 100% voting record in support of every police and fire budget. Third, experienced. I am responsive to the citizens who come to my law office, who email me, who call me at my home in Lake Point for the last 40 years. I am the only candidate running from Lake Point, 3 of the largest precincts in Plymouth Township, and I think I may be the only candidate east of Sheldon Road. So I'm asking for your vote. I'm asking for your input. We need to increase greater citizen participation. That's why I brought Abe Lincoln with me tonight. Of the people, by the people, and for the people. That's where it's at. With my last 30 seconds, I want to tell you that I was a speaker at the Michigan Townships Association statewide convention. Today, the pamphlet came in the mail, creating a vision for our better township. We need trust in our elected officials, and we need to work with them. If you come to a board meeting, I will always warmly greet you. Thank you, and I look forward to the next 8 weeks. The election is 56 days away.
Thank you, John. Next up is Angela, and you're muted.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me, Jackie, Carrie, and Valerie. It was also nice seeing you on the weekend at your annual meeting. So I am Angela Nolan. I am thrilled to be a Democrat running for Township Trustee. I've been living here over 25 years with my husband, Mike, and I've proudly called the township my home ever since we moved here in 1999. We raised our 2 beautiful daughters here as well. My deep involvement in our community, from volunteering to working with Plymouth Canton Schools, has instilled in me a profound connection to our township, driving my decision to run for trustee. My journey in community service began with the Plymouth Newcomers, which has really kind of helped introduce me to the area. And I ended up on their nonprofit board, and it sort of set the stage for my involvement in lots of other things. I contributed to the schools, to Girl Scouts, and I was a precinct delegate, and I started volunteering on many political campaigns. And I'm currently on the board of the Plymouth Odd Fellows, and I spent 6 years on the board at the Educational Excellence Foundation, Plymouth Canton Schools. I'm really looking forward to this campaign. It is new for me. I have the energy, I have the willingness, and I have just a strong social justice bone in my body. It's something that I feel strongly about. So thank you.
Thank you. Michael, you are next, and you are muted.
Thank you. I want to thank the Carrie, Valerie, and Jackie, and the League of Women Voters for hosting us tonight. My name is Michael Westra, and I am running as a Democrat in the primary and in the general election. I've been a resident of Plymouth Township for over 20 years, where my wife and I raised 2 children. One just graduated this past weekend, and the other is pursuing her degree from Michigan State, from James Madison School of Public Policy. I am a graduate of Calvin University and the University of Michigan. I work in the automotive sector in the technology space. I was one of the lead software architects for the first infotainment system in the industry, and then I work as a director of product cybersecurity at one of the major automakers. And this has given me a chance to do a lot of work in the professional space. I've worked on a number of industry standards boards, and worked as part of working in cybersecurity, developed a very close working relationship with law enforcement at both the national and the state level. I volunteer experience includes a lot of work with the PTA, STEM our kids were growing up, working in the first robotics team, as well as on the board of our local church and Oddfellows as well. I am running just to bring a level of professionalism and compromise to the board, which has been really quite divisive over the last several years, and to bring a fresh perspective to that board. I want to thank everybody for hosting us, and that is the end of my my time.
Thank you, Michael. Jen, you are next.
Hi, thank you all so much. It's great to be with you this evening. Hi, I'm Jen Buckley. I am one of the current trustees on the Plymouth Township Board of Trustees. I've served for 2 years, and a vacancy became available a couple years ago. Amidst a highly qualified candidate field of applicants, I went ahead and submitted mine, and I was voted in. I believe that I was voted in because I am not a politician. I am an everyday woman. I have 8 children. I'm raising them here in Plymouth Township. My husband and I moved from Virginia. We chose Plymouth Township as the one and only place we would look for a residence. And we just find this community to be outstanding. It's on the right track. And so I brought quite a fresh perspective to the board. And I like to say that I'm down in the nitty gritty of the community and mingling with the residents. I'm pretty well known. I'm a United States Air Force veteran. That's my background. I'm also a military widow. I say that because that experience, as well as my background in the military, has put me in a position to be known for my resilience, my perseverance, my leadership. And because of that experience and wanting to stay home with my 3 children at the time, I had to become very innovative so that I could take care of them financially. And so that led me into a lot of entrepreneurial endeavors, and I've owned several businesses. So I'm currently a small business owner. I'm remarried, and like I said, I had 3 children before, added 5 children to that. So I have one of the biggest families probably in Plymouth Township. My husband's a police sergeant with Royal Oak. I'm very proud of that. Very supportive of police and fire. My son, who's grown now, is a Marine in the United States Marine Corps as a lag gunner. I'm very proud of that as well. I'm a home educator, and I believe strongly in our freedoms to allow parents to be able to choose how they educate their children. And as such, because I believe in those freedoms, I'm also an 8th grade U.S. history teacher, and I stand up for patriotic.
Thank you, Jen.
Okay,
Your
thank
time
you.
is up. Next up is Audrey.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Carrie, Jackie, and Valerie, and the League of Women Voters for doing this. It gives everyone an opportunity outside the candidates themselves to be able to discern and look at what's valuable to us. 4 years ago, I was asked to run for this position, and I initially said no. I am a pharmacist, and I'm an attorney, and I have 4 children. And in my world, it was already crazy enough than to actually go and now run a campaign. The person that asked me again. And then I discussed it with my family, and my family says, Mom, this is the time for you to run. This is the time for you to run because we need to have good people representing our community on this board. And that's been my guiding light ever since. When I came on the board of trustees as an incumbent, it's important for me that we were talking about how there's disunity within our board, and that's true. And oftentimes you'll see me make a statement about let's be cordial, let's not attack one another, because that doesn't help our citizens. And at the end of the day, I am for our citizens. I want to make sure that they're safe in their homes and that we have our fire and our police department as worked up as best as we can, because we know that by having that safety, we can all be safe in our homes. I have a husband who had run the Memorial Day Parade for 10 years, and he was also in the military. I have my 4 children, 2 of whom are engineers, one attorney, and 1 social worker with a master's. I have 3 grandchildren at this point. I come from a very large family, and I'm so proud to be a part of Plymouth Township Board of Trustees, and I thank you for your confidence.
Thank you. Sandy, you're next.
Hi, I am Sandy Groth, and I am a Republican candidate for Plymouth Township Trustee. Thank you to Carrie, Valerie, and Jackie for hosting this and for giving all of us the opportunity to speak. I have lived in the Plymouth community since 1968. And in particular, I've lived in Plymouth Township for the past 30 years. Service to the public has always been very important to my husband and myself. My late husband was the fire chief in the community for 24 years and worked in the fire service for 42. My father was a Michigan State Police trooper. I have spent my time working in different departments, mostly the clerk's office in Plymouth Township. I was a deputy clerk twice, so I have a lot of election knowledge and experience, but I'm not running for clerk. What I will say is that the clerk's office has a tremendous amount of responsibility that in terms of daily function, and my employment has given me the opportunity to learn. The clerk's office deals with licensing and insurance requirements for waste haulers and used car dealers. They secure and maintain letters of credit from developers to ensure that work is completed. I understand tax abatements and some of the other roles of the township government, to include purchasing and payables. I have functional and historical knowledge because I have been around for a long time. I believe that my knowledge and experience and background is extensive. My work ethic is strong, and my desire is to represent and be accountable to the residents of Plymouth Township. I still get calls at home, even after being gone from the township. I still get calls at home from people who want to ask me questions. I want to be your voice. I want to encourage your thoughts and concerns, and I will treat you with respect and dignity as you deserve to be treated. I humbly ask you to consider voting for me on August 6th in the primary election. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We will now begin with the questions, and this time, John, you're first on the questioning. Please explain why you are running for office.
To represent the people. I mean, to bring services of the township to the people. I'm the most accessible trustee, more so than even the supervisor. I have a first floor office on Main Street, and once a day I get an email, or once a day I get somebody walking into my office. I believe in local government. I was elected a trustee 88 to 92 BC before Kermie. I've been elected 3 years ago. Elected, not appointed. I am a man of the community. My wife will not appear on picture tonight, but she's sitting 10 feet from me. Beth Stewart, 21-year director of the museum, 16-year director of the Michigan Philharmonic. We are very involved in the community. We have our ear to the ground. We are in touch with the needs, whether it's traffic, whether it's police, whether it's fire. And we have had significant needs in Lake Point. And I've been the one on the phone to the ordinance officer or to the dispatch, as Sandy Groth well knows that I know the township employees. So I'm here to serve.
Thank you, John. Same question, Angela.
So one of the things that sort of drove me to this is after participating in many events and many opportunities to volunteer with different organizations, starting with when my kids were young. I've always wanted to be a part of the community. I've always wanted to give back, and I've always wanted to lead by example. Having 2 daughters, I had a commitment to show them what it meant to stand up for yourself, to stand up for others, and also to have confidence to do whatever you wanted to do in your life. And so over the years, people have asked me to join some sort of political race or something to that effect. And I've always said, no, no, no. So it was all, for me, raising my kids was number one priority. And having them also be a part of the community by doing things. And so now that I'm technically an empty nester, it just made more sense. It was not planned. But I was highly motivated by some people that I really respect that are in our local and state politics. And so with that, as much as I wanted to deny that I didn't want to do it, all I could think of was how much I could do it and how much I've already given back to the community and how much I care about this community. It just made perfect sense. And all I want to do is have the opportunity to take what I've learned and move forward in a positive and progressive way that helps people. That's really my goal, is to just make sure that I'm helping and not hindering the direction of the township.
Thank you. Michael, same question?
Absolutely. Thank you. I think my wife and I have both had a passion for giving back to the community, and it just depends on the season of life in terms of what sort of shape that takes. When our 2 adopted children were younger, it was really focused on supporting them and volunteering within the school system. In 2016, when a lot of things changed, things changed a lot for our adopted family, and I think that kind of was the seed that got politics, at least in the thinking of my wife and I. And then she ran for school successfully for school board a few years ago, and then as Angela had indicated, somebody that we both respect, Matt Colazar, had approached us and asked us each individually, personally, to consider running, just to provide a different perspective on the board. That the board had a lot of sort of disagreement, infighting, and he was looking for the good of the community to provide a higher degree of sort of professionalism for that. And so I think a lot of sort of desire to give back to the community, and then it's just the right season of life in terms of the kids moving out of the house, and work demands sort of now allowing a little bit more flexibility. So that would be the reason why I've considered this opportunity.
Thank you. Jen?
Hi, sorry about that. Had to unmute. So as a Republican currently serving on the Board of Trustees, it kind of comes down to, it is what I do, but why I do it, of course, is to serve the residents. And, being a resident myself, and experiencing the prosperity of Plymouth Township, the amazing success that we've had, seeing families desire to continue to move into Plymouth Township, seeing our businesses boom. It's just a great circle of progress that's happening here, and I want to continue to be a part of it. Continue to, fully fund our police and our fire to keep us safe. A community that is safe can thrive. And I think that's an absolutely important part of sorry, I have to change screens here. And, you know, basically at the end of the day, I personally am a problem solver. And so whenever there is something, some type of issue that comes up, I'd like to be there and answer that for our community. One such example is I felt that the community could really use some uplifting events that could rally us together. And so I founded the Veterans Commission that I'm now the chairwoman for, and I'm very proud that we're able to put on a community event that would bring people together, get us out of our homes. We walked together and we talked together and we just got to know one another. And it's those type of problem solving skills that I think are really necessary when you serve on a township board like this. And I just hope to continue to be able to put forth my best in this role. Thank you.
Thank you. Audrey, same question.
As a Republican candidate and a fourth-year person as a trustee, it may seem redundant to say, but it is because of giving back to the community that I want to run for a second time. You know, I've been in this community 23 years. I'm very involved in it. I'm a sole practitioner. As a businesswoman, I run my own law firm. I also do pharmacy work as a pharmacist for Walmart. I've done that throughout COVID. I absolutely was there to see the good, bad, and the ugly as a result of that disease. And one of the things I came away with is the fact that we as people have to come together and unite. We have common goals, more common goals than we do negative goals. And as a township that all of us on this board love, okay, we want to give our best back to that. And it's not about me. I like what Jen said. I'm not a politician. I wanted to help out. And this was just a new avenue for me to help out. I've been a elector at Our Lady Good Counsel for years. I helped out in that regard. And then I became to be asked about becoming a trustee. I've enjoyed my position there. I think we have some talented people. And I continue to want to see this community go farther and farther as it advances to be the beautiful community that it is, and can't wait to see what we're going to do next year. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Sandy, you're next. Same question.
I have been a longtime resident of this community, and I have had a commitment to public service. I had a lot of citizens call me and ask me to consider running for trustee. I think that my knowledge and experience of the daily functions and operations of the township, it could be beneficial to everyone. I have a tendency to look at issues as you can either be part of the problem or part of the solution. I try to be part of the solution, and I recognize that that takes working cooperatively with other people. I want to be a voice for the citizens of this community, because there are so many people who want, who have strong wants and desires, and they are not able to speak for themselves. So I want to be an advocate for the people in the community and represent their viewpoints. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Bob, you're next.
Okay, thanks. What a nice group of people we have. I think everybody's heart is in the right place. I compliment each one of you for showing up tonight. I would like to see a little bit more harmony and attention paid to the public who come to the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees. We seem to have a little bit of an imbalance there. And I know everybody's heart is in the right place, but there are things that I think we might do better, and that is listening to the people who take the time and effort to come and comment on projects. One of those projects is basically in my backyard. And by the way, we had a little tornado the other day, which took down all my trees. But if everybody would get along just a little bit better and pay a little bit more attention to the people whose comments come your way, and then follow that through, I would very much appreciate it. Democrats need to be at least represented on the board. And I hope that you will find it in your heart and in your vote to give us a chance. Thanks.
Okay, we will now move on to the second question. And Angela, you will start first. Many residents, particularly those who live on the east side of the township, feel unheard and that their needs are not a priority. How would you address this issue?
So I do agree that there's a wide swath in this community, and the township is a big one. I used to live on that side of town. My first 15 years living here, even almost longer, I lived right by Lake Point. And I feel that in order to be heard, people need to participate. And this is a prime example of how to participate, is to involve yourself more in the community in terms of attending meetings. And but I feel that communication is key. And if someone's going to reach out and ask me a specific question about something in their neck of the woods, especially the east side of town, whether it be construction, development, the firehouse, roads, I just really want to be able to make sure that I'm hearing them and that I am communicating with them. The biggest way to do it is to reach out. Some people will talk a lot on social media, but they don't actually follow through with what they say they want, which is to email or pick up the phone and call. I'm willing to talk to anybody, anytime. I do that all day long for work. I talk to the community. I work for community ed for Plymouth Canton Schools. I speak to people just moving here or people that have lived here for 50 years. And I feel like my cooperation and my willingness to hear and to listen is prime for this position. But I also want people to realize that it's nothing scary. Talking to somebody to help solve problems is not scary. It's productive.
Thank you. Michael, same question.
Thank you. I think each part of the township, I mean, the township is large enough and diverse enough that each sort of section has its own unique needs. What the folks on the eastern side of the township, especially those closer to the city, have very different needs as far as traffic and even a different approach and mindset in how development should proceed than folks that are out on the western side. And I think listening to the unique needs of the individuals on the east side is very important. And especially things that they feel like they're being left out of, like things like parks and recreation. And those need to be sort of taken into account in terms of the priorities that the township puts together. It's really balance and compromise, which is really important to me, to listen to and have to balance all of the different needs of the different residents in different parts of the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen, same question.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that it sounds like some of the residents are unsatisfied. I will say that when it comes to learning more or feeling like you want to get your voice out there and be heard, it's kind of a two-way street, and I know that not only from sitting on the board currently, but as a resident myself, I have a farm right behind me that I've enjoyed the 7 acres of quiet for the last 8 years, but it's about to be developed. And we got a notice in the mail and that come to the planning commission meeting for a public hearing. And so, following through with what the township puts out there for us to get involved in as residents, we should follow up with that. It's a two-way street. I think our current administration is very transparent. We always put notices out there. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. And but it's a two-way street. You have to be looking for these things. For example, I also live very close to the park, and a big football stadium is going in. And it was to my surprise, but I can't blame anybody but myself for not staying up with those things. And but I will say that I have been swayed on the board when people come in and give their public comments. There was a time I felt very strongly I was going to vote one way, and through the public comments, I really had a turn. And so your voices can be heard. So do show up to those meetings. They're every second and fourth Tuesday of the month at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much.
Audrey, the same question?
Yes, I'm sorry to hear that the members on the east side are having issues. I believe just what other people have said, and that is that we have to come together as a group and then discuss this, whatever the problem may be, whatever the concern may be, discuss this politely as adults, and have the courage to speak your mind without fearing retribution. Now, I believe in our board, we really try hard at times to listen to the community. And as Jen said, there were times when I thought I would be voting one way. And because of the community involvement, I really understood what it was that they were talking about. I felt their compassion. I felt their fear. And I understand that we are all living here together, but yes, we may be a large township, but we're small when it comes to everyone having issues. We may have different issues, but we all have issues. And the only way we can discuss those is if we come together and discuss them out in the open. The other thing is that we are agreeable or amenable to contact us either through email. Many people have contacted me through email on the latest type of topics that we have delved into on the board, and have let their options known as to what they thought should happen. I was stopped at a wedding. I've been stopped at the picnic basket, you name it. And I think that's a good thing. And I don't mind that at all, because at the end of the day, that's where we're here. We're here for service. And I want to do what's right for the citizens. I'm just one citizen. And I have one vote, but at the end of the day, listening to our constituents is that utmost important role. And you cannot deny that they have a voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Same question, Sandy?
First thing I want to say is that Jackie is not visible on the screen, so we can't see the time when she tells us we have 1 minute.
Is everybody seeing Jackie? I am.
You do.
Yeah.
Oh, so maybe I'm the problem. All right. Well, let me speak. I have been, there you are, Jackie. I have been also a longtime resident of the township, and I've been involved in a lot of different issues and movements with the citizens involved. I love Plymouth Township. I live on the east side. I can say that the thing that I hear the most from people on the east side is the concerns about the development and the potential development, mostly because it affects our ability to get in and out of our subdivisions because of traffic backups, the ability to move anywhere without sitting for a long period of time to get to 275 as an example. But I do believe that I'm on the east side, some of you are on the west side, but what affects the east side ultimately also affects the west side, because we are all in this together. So I think that we need to try to find ways to look at infrastructure, to look, to do traffic studies and look at the impact that these developments will have on the traffic. And we just need to be very conscious and aware of what the citizens are saying, what their concerns are, and find ways to deal with those problems. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob, same question.
Thank you. My battery is going down quickly, so I'm going to try to be brief. I would like to offer some suggestions. It seems that the township is always in a squeeze for money. and nobody wants their taxes to go up, and nobody wants the administration fees, and nobody wants any kind of increase at all. But there are some solutions that we could take that would raise money, make the community a little bit safer, and not increase anything. And one of those things happened to be featured recently, and that was cameras on stop signs that would automatically record people who are going through stop signs. And in my neighborhood, I live on the east side, and I feel that a lot. People just sort of wander through stop signs without really giving it a second thought if they don't happen to see anybody. But if they knew it was going to cost them $100 every time they did that, the Plymouth Township would be better off. Our taxes wouldn't be going up. And I think we would be safer and our children would be safer.
Thank you. John, same question?
Meeting the needs of the people on the east side is a hot button issue. I have walked every house around Allen Elementary School. I have walked every house in Lake Point. I drive Haggerty every day. They want a grocery store. Amazon Fresh is not yet open. That is a shame. Kurt Heisey put me in contact with the corporate officials at Amazon, and I was a little concerned that it was sound because they have a reputation for buying up property to prevent another grocery store going in there, like an Aldi's or a smaller, just grocery store, Meijer type. If you talk to the people, if you listen to the people, if you walk house to house like I have done, you will find out people are scared to drive out on it to enter Haggerty Road between Ann Arbor Road and Plymouth Road. It's just a 2-lane north and south. So we've got to focus on opening up a grocery store, and I'm glad I'm the only trustee candidate who has mentioned the grocery store, because that's what I have heard over and over and over. My last 30 seconds are going to be devoted to Governor Milliken, longest serving governor of 14 years, George Romney, 7 years, a Jacob Javits type Republican, Carrie, delicate
Yes,
compromise and consensus. Delicate compromise and consensus. All the trustees seem to be candidates seem to be aware of the dissension at the board meetings. And it's unfortunate. That's been my mantra at the board meetings: delicate compromise and consensus. But without a doubt, meeting the needs of the East Siders, they want a grocery store, for heaven's sakes. If you would listen to them, and if you would walk door to door, and if you would talk to them, let's get practical and secure opening a grocery store.
Thank you. We'll now be moving on to our next question, and Michael will be the first one up. What was your position on the racetrack? What would you like to see be done with that property?
I obviously I wasn't on the board, so but I do not support the racetrack. I think what you will generally see is that a casino does not a net positive for a community. It tends to drain sort of valuable police resources, causes other sort of unfortunate externalities in terms of sort of negatives for the community. And while they always seem to promise sort of a lot of sort of tax revenue, it generally doesn't sort of appear or materialize. And so I'm not in favor of the racetrack. I mean, I don't know that harness racing is all of that popular anyways, but the real pitch was really for off track betting, and like I said, a casino is not really in keeping with the community. What should become of that property? I think there's a lot that could be done. It's a lot of it's going to depend on who it gets sold to. I mean, if we had a complete hand in it, there'd be a lot of community development. It could Part of it could be for parks and other benefits for the community, but it's in private hands at present, and so a lot's going to depend on who ends up purchasing it.
Thank you. Jen, same question?
I hear a child coming to the door. 1 sec. Sorry. Yeah, so about the racetrack, that was certainly a very contentious time for my first year on the board, but we got through it. I did vote yes on the racetrack, and I really felt very strongly in the right to do business. I really appreciated everyone that came out and gave their feedback on why we shouldn't put the racetrack in. But at the end of the day, a lot of it was hypothetical, and you can't make business decisions on hypotheticals. A lot of stuff was also very conspiracy driven, and I'm a free market capitalist. And if you have a business idea and venture, you know, small government is a way to go. It's not for us to be getting super involved in these things. And then provided that you're you know, following our guidelines for business dealings in the township. You know, it's not for us to get in the way of. I'm a small business owner, and I would be very upset if I had such a government involvement in how I wanted to do my business, or if people thought that I wasn't a viable business. As far as what would be a good option out there, you know, it's a really good question. The property itself is desirable, but less than desirable at the same time, because you have the landfill there, you have a train station as well. And so I just think, you know, we need to be open to the different things that could possibly come our way. But yeah, just be open to different things. I don't really have a particular idea in mind at this time. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Audrey, you're next.
Yes. Initially, I was for the racetrack because what was told the board was that we were voting only on a community benefit plan. And that benefit plan was to help enhance the involvement of the community with soccer fields and perhaps concerts, to bridges that were supposed to go in so people could have access, you know, to be able to, you know, get to the land across the way where the creek is. But that didn't materialize. In fact, it dissolved rather quickly. And then the constituents of us had come to the meetings and had let us know of their opinion. I mean, really let us know of their opinion. There was probably only 2 or 3 people that were actually for this project. And like Jen said, initially you think to yourself, we're a capitalist society. We don't want to put the brakes on just everything that we don't like, but we have to be prudent about it too. And when the comments came out from the public, you know, you really got to thinking, well, who's going to play soccer when there's horses, you know, running around? You know, who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? So ultimately, I would vote no on it, but it took some time to get there. And, you know, at the end of the day, this is how honest they were in their deal making. They were already involved with Fowlerville to have their racetrack put up there. So, you know, we have to have honest, open dealings, and so we can be informed. If we don't have that, we start off behind the 8 ball. But I thank the citizens of this community for coming out every single meeting, and that was great. It was really great. Thank you.
Thank you. Sandy, same question.
I am opposed to the racetrack, but I also recognize that it doesn't matter, because our situation now is one where the land is for sale and we are facing a $10 million lawsuit. And the citizens are up in arms about that. And they were never involved from the beginning. Talk of a racetrack was very surprising to so many people, particularly the ones who live out west of town in certain areas. I don't think the citizens are involved enough. They did go to the meetings and speak, but maybe they should have known about this before it really became an issue or when it was a possibility, and they did not. So they feel unheard. And if I'm living in a part of the township and my neighbors don't support something because of the lack of good that it's going to bring to that part of the township, I think we should be able to be involved in that, and we should all stick together and respect and understand the position of the people who have to live with the decisions that are being made. As it stands now with the lawsuit, it's $10 million. We may have to pay it. We may have to go back to having the racetrack. It depends on what happens with the lawsuit, but it's very difficult for the citizens who are opposed, who don't feel heard, and I don't think it's the type of thing that we want in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Bob, same question.
Yeah, I'm against the racetrack, and I think a $10 million lawsuit is a 10 million reasons why. And it should be an area where population have homes and things like that to make it a community. And it just kind of feels like a pair of brown shoes on a black tuxedo to me.
Thank you. John?
The hard facts are that the Carlo brothers put it in writing that the whole purpose was for a casino. Less than 5% of all of their income, the Carlo brothers, came from gambling, simulcasting. I beg your pardon, came from harness racing. Less than 5% of the Carlo brothers' income came from harness racing. Harness racing is dead in Michigan. I have a direct, immediate line to the executive director of the Michigan Gaming and Control Board, more than any judge or any supervisor. And they have said it's dead. Fowlerville was built in 1947 and would take over $1 million to upgrade that. Last August, I was quoted, and the headline of the article in the Detroit Free Press was, Stewart says the racetrack casino is against our culture, our morals, and our values. It was a rebranding of our culture, morals, and values that was absolutely disgusting, absolutely terrible. But were they seduced? Were they induced to spend $10 million and put half of that down to buy that property? I guess we're going to have to find out. The lawsuit is 5 months old. The supervisor was served last February. Tomorrow is a conference day setting the dates for the future trial. There hasn't been any dismissal. That is a lie if someone says it's been dismissed. Now, best option, high-tech company, consistent with what else has been out there. The Norwegian hydrogen fuel plant is the best gift, and no one, including the supervisor, had anything to do with that other than setting a proper setting. That was all Debbie Dingell, Jennifer Granholm, and I'm Secretary of Energy, bringing in the Norwegian hydrogen fuel plant. And that is the best gift, an enormous game changer.
Thank you, John. And Angela, same question. And you're on mute.
Hey, so I wholeheartedly disagreed with the racetrack. I do agree that harness racing is a dying breed, that a majority of their money was on gambling and simulcast horse races. I think that it was just an unfortunate situation all the way around. Sounds like we are still in quite a fight about it. What I would like to see, and I do know that that 5-mile corridor is, touted as high tech and and business, things like that. What I have found, and what just as a resident, is that a lot of the things on 5 Mile Road don't necessarily benefit the residents of Plymouth Township or Plymouth in general. I feel like it's really a lot of Northville people that are taking advantage of that location. Granted, it is our Home Depot, but for some of us, it's half one, half dozen of the other to go to Canton or to 5 Mile for Home Depot, or even to Haggerty and 7 Mile. So what my feeling is that anything else large scale that's going there is going to cause more traffic. The 5 Mile Road is a 2 mile road going west. If you go to Ridge Road, it's a terrible road to begin with. It's just a mess. You've got dump trucks and trash trucks going there all the time that are going to the landfill. I feel that any kind of casino, racetrack, you have zero access from the freeway to get there without causing even more traffic from Sheldon or from Beck. So I would like to see more recreation opportunities for the township and for other communities. I think that we need more athletic fields. I think we need a field house. I think we need more park space. All we really have is the township park as our crowning glory. I think we just need to add more for the community in terms of outdoor and indoor athletic use.
Thank you. Jen, you will be starting the next question. What should the township prioritize when spending the opioid settlement money?
Well, that's a good question. What should we prioritize? Well, I mean, we're currently in financial discussions about our Lake Point Fire Station, and looking to bond that. And we're looking to perhaps take some bonding and mix it with some of the funds that we already have and pay cash. So why not just add to that, you know, to reduce our future debt? That sounds like a pretty smart thing to do. I would consider looking into that. Thank you for the question.
Okay, Audrey, same question.
Sure, thank you for the question. There are two things that I would like to see. The first thing is what Jen had said, and that is the new firehouse that is has been a long time in coming. I know that's also some Achilles heel to some people, but I think it would definitely be a benefit to that community, that portion of the community. We have to support, again, our first responders, and we need to give them the equipment that they need to do that. And in speaking with the fire chief, you know, he explained it very well in terms of what that particular building would give as a benefit. So I think taking a sad situation of the opioid problem and making it into a good one for the benefit of our citizens is a good thing. The other thing I'd like to see is a little bit more in the way of programming for our seniors. We just had secured some buses, some new transportation vehicles for our seniors. I'm going to be one next year. I don't know exactly when the cutoff time is, but you know, we'll all be seniors at some point in our life. And we hope that there is a mechanism for us to keep active, even if we don't drive, and to be able to see our friends and come together as a community, you know, in different places. So I would like to see a little bit more emphasis placed on for our seniors. Thank you.
Same question, Sandy.
I would start initially by explaining that the townships, their role, their job is to provide services that people can't provide for themselves. So clearly we need to continue to fully fund police and fire operations. We also have to keep up with the water and sewer services, the trash hauling, the services that we need. Aside, I also want to say that I support Station 2 being redone. I worked at the township in 1976 when that station was put up, and it was because the the state bought the land that the station was on and rebuilt one for the fire department. They did that for 275 and M14. So I think it's just really important that when spending, we focus on the priorities, which are the services that we provide. We need to make sure that we are providing them well.
Thank you. Same question, Bob? Bob, did we lose Bob? We did. Okay. John, same question?
Oh, the question, what, would you repeat the question?
Sure. What should the township prioritize when spending the opioid settlement money?
First of all, opioids are an epidemic. Second of all, there are more drivers out there high on marijuana than alcohol, and I'm a real stickler on that. Third of all, I voted for the Lake Point Fire Station, and I was picked up and pulled out of a car by a truck from station number 2 out in Lake Point when I was T-boned at 5 Mile and Northville Road. So I deeply appreciated that being there. So that's my answer to the question is it's a quiet epidemic, opioids, and we've got to spend it on drug abuse problems, alcohol, and few people know there was a crash on Ann Arbor Road right in front of the Elks Project where a lady lost her leg. She rear-ended a semi truck at 82 miles an hour at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Okay, thank you. I see Mr. Miller has rejoined us. Or he's beginning to rejoin us. I'll move on to Angela with the same question, and then I'll circle back to Mr. Miller when he joins.
Thank you. This is a question that is confounding to me because I'm not sure what that line item amount actually is for the settlement. So that's something that I need to research. But the biggest thing that I've noticed as a parent and as a resident of this community, we have the funds for our police and our firefighters. We have those funds, and that has been a priority. So I think that when looking at some of the budget line items at the township level, I saw that like the senior transportation has a really small budget. I think that obviously helping out the seniors with just more places to go and be and meet, not just the Friendship Station or their churches. But the biggest thing that I have seen in especially the last 4 years is the lack of resources for youth and teens for mental health. And, parents are forced to pay for what service and health help they can get for their kids. Every single therapist in this town is probably booked for months and months and months. I know the school district is doing what they can, but not everybody is a part of the school district. I think that we need to offer up some public mental health guidance and help for these kids that are still really struggling from the COVID epidemic, learning remotely, and things of that nature. And that includes drug education. So besides mental health for youth and teens and our seniors, I think that Parks and Rec is something that also just needs to be addressed. But I really have a strong opinion about access to mental health resources.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, have you rejoined us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Okay, the question that everyone's been answering is, what should the township prioritize when spending the opioid settlement money?
Well, I would hope that a lot of it is spent on treatment programs for people who are afflicted with that. I also agree with Angela. The senior citizens need a lot more consideration. And since I'm a senior citizen and have a face for a radio, I would like to see that happen, just kind of for selfish reasons. That's my answer.
Okay, and Michael, same question.
I think the opioid epidemic was, I mean, just tragic for our country, and it devastated a lot of communities. And this, unfortunately, is like the one sort of bite of the apple that a lot of that we're going to get in terms of accountability from the companies that help sort of create the problem. I really strongly think that we should be using the money for treatment, which is what the money was intended for. And to reallocate it for other purposes is really, I think, missing the point. I mean, you could fund sort of police education around substance abuse. You could fund certain police sort of safety equipment that helps them when dealing with sort of opioid calls. But I think it needs to really be thoughtfully applied to addressing sort of the opioid issues, such as they are in Plymouth Township. I mean, thankfully, we're probably not as adversely affected as other parts of the country, but that's what the settlement money is for. I mean, we should look at other funding avenues for obviously make sure our police and fire are fully funded, the parks, mental health, and all of those pieces. But this particular bucket needs to be used for that purpose.
Thank you. This will be our last question before we go into closing statements. And Audrey, you are up first. With the changing demographics and diversity of the township, what are your plans for creating a welcoming and diverse community?
With a I'm fair attitude, then you probably get a lot further than if it's just about me. When we go on the board, there are multiple of opinions, and we have to deal with those every single time we meet. So at the end of the day, you have to be open-minded to other people's opinions, and it's not just about you. And the other thing is that you can't be a yes person. You have to vote your conscience. You have to vote what you think that's in the best interest of our community. And sometimes a particular group might like that vote. Other times a particular group might not like that vote, but it's a balancing act. I don't think that I think we have diversity in our township, and I think that's a great thing. And I also like to see that, I would like to see more youth come into the process and get involved in terms of being able to, see how their particular local government works. That can get them, thinking about what it is that's important for them when they get older and stay in this community and buy a house. So I think we have to learn to work with each other no matter what the differences are. And I think you have to do that in a very calm, considered way, instead of, the ultimate fighting because someone doesn't like your opinion. So that's what I would think, that we have to be balanced and open for other people's opinions.
Thank you. Same question, Sandy?
I didn't totally understand the question. You were talking about funding for the diverse community that we have.
Yep. Let me read the question again to you. With
Thank
the
you.
changing demographics and diversity of the township, what are your plans for creating a welcoming and diverse community?
I truly don't know the answer to that. I don't know what we can do as a township government in terms of creating programs or plans for diversity. So I don't have any thoughts on that, except that we are one community. We need to work together. We need to help each other. And we need to stay focused on that we are a bunch of people who can all work together and be very positive.
Thank you. Bob, same question?
Well, I don't know whatever happened to the welcome wagon, but
Hmm.
it would be a nice thing if we were just kind of a little nicer to each other. Say good morning, say good evening. How can I help? Especially the senior citizens. A lot of times when there's snow out there, it's an opportunity for younger people to contribute something and learn how to improve their community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
John, same question?
Dear people, this is Plymouth Township. We work together, we build community, our future is bright, and we get to live here. Every other month, I attend a senior citizen event in Friendship Station out in Lake Point. I attend the Martin Luther King services in Canton the third Monday of every January, and I have been very proactive in civil rights. I also support LGBTQ rights. This is Pride Month. No longer ought we to discriminate, and I'm a dedicated Presbyterian. And I just don't, I'm beyond, you know, the intolerance or the prejudice. Now, let me shift gears real quickly. One compliment for our supervisor, fiscal responsibility. We have an $8 million fund balance. We should cut taxes by cutting the collection fee. So we're financially in great shape. But we should have some of these honoring programs at our board meetings. And thus far, the supervisor has not encouraged that. And I'm talking about racial, I'm talking about LGBTQ, I'm talking about diversity and welcoming, because it's the law, people. We get to live here and follow the law. So I'm glad that we live in an enlightened community of Northwest Wayne County. And I welcome you, and I hope that we will just be true to our nobler values.
Thank you. Angela, same question?
So I 100% feel there's a very, very, very big line of demarcation at Joy Road. Canton has a very, very inclusive and diverse community. And I am starting to finally see more diversity and inclusivity in the township. But without downtown Plymouth to attract people to this community, there needs to be more of a collaboration. There is no township without downtown Plymouth. So I do feel that it has a sense of being a little bit more exclusive. I feel that they tout one thing, but we show another. What I do see downtown and seeing music on Friday nights, I see a large range of diversity. Going to PSEP and seeing the high school, that's a lot of diversity. That's a lot of LGBTQ. That's a lot of African American. That's a lot of Asian. That's a lot of Indian American. It's just a beautiful melting pot. But what happens at the high school needs to happen in our community. We need to have committees. We need to have groups. We need to have people talking. So I would really love to be able to show people, instead of just talking about it, show them that they're welcome. We have people moving here from all over the world for automotive and other reasons. Let them see what we're all about without just seeing the color of our skin in Plymouth Township.
Thank you. Michael, same question?
I'd be remiss if I didn't say diversity also includes sort of political diversity, and there hasn't been a sort of a Democrat on the Plymouth Township Board, as someone informed me, since probably the 1970s, which is sort of unlike a lot of our neighboring communities. But this topic is very important to me because we have two children that were adopted internationally from China. And I can definitely say we've seen it in the community where there are, I mean, most folks are very welcoming, very open. But in like the case of my daughter, she was doing a civics project, passing out literature at a polling place, and an elected politician came up and told her she was not part of the community because people who look like her don't belong here. And so we have a ways to go, is what I would say. And with my wife on school board, we definitely see the crosstabs, and the community is definitely changing. And I think a lot of folks are nervous about that. But whether I think a lot of people don't realize that even in our community that's fairly affluent, over 22% of the individuals qualify for reduced lunch programs back before it was free for everybody. So we have a diversity. It's just, I think a lot of people don't acknowledge it. And I think us as individuals and all of us who are seeking to be leaders of the community need to reflect that and really sort of walk the walk. And that's kind of where I would come from. Thank you.
Thank you. Jen, same question.
Hi, yeah, as far as the question goes and the answers that have been given, I'm probably going to stray pretty decently from what most of the group has touted as their beliefs. But you know, I think the government just needs to do their job. I think there's nothing wrong with Plymouth Township. I think it's a very inclusive place to live, without making a bigger issue of it, without needing alliances and coalitions. Everyone is just fine. To be honest with you, in my own personal life, I've been discriminated against quite a bit for having 8 children. But it's not something I need the government to get involved in. This is just something I feel that is being made to be a bigger issue than it needs to be. I'm certainly open to diverse populations coming into Plymouth Township, and I think a great avenue for that is through small business. For example, Mono Tailoring from Dearborn. They are situating themselves here in Plymouth Township. I think that's absolutely wonderful. We need to continue to be open to that. And I just think we need to keep continuing to do what we're doing. Nothing's broken. There's nothing that needs to be fixed. This is a great place to live for all diverse populations. Thank you.
Okay, we will now begin our closing statements. You do have 2 minutes for a closing statement. And Sandy, we start with you. Did we lose there? I see Sandy.
No, I'm here. The development, future proposed development and existing development has created a lot of dissension in this community, particularly from residents who don't like what's being proposed, who don't necessarily want the development that is taking place out west of town, in particular on 5 Mile Road. And as a result of that, we have seen a lot of opinions and focus towards the people of the township because we've had large numbers speak out. This campaign is one of the most divisive campaigns I've ever seen, not mine specifically, but in general. We have people bullying other people. We have people tearing down people. This is not about who you can destroy, who you can hurt, or who you can make look bad. This is about what can you do to make this community better. So we have we all talk about the future. My idea of the future is likely very different from someone else's idea because we all have our own views and opinions. But the important thing is that no matter what that future entails, the citizens absolutely must be a part of that. They must feel included, they must be respected, and they must be treated fairly and with dignity. Your voice equals our future. Please vote wisely on August 6th. Thank you.
Bob, same closing.
I want to thank you and everybody else for this opportunity. If I might just for a second circle back around to the cultural diversity, which plays into my experiences teaching intercultural communication at Eastern Michigan University. And one thing it was mentioned that we should learn about these people and they in turn learn about us. But if we take the time to learn about other cultures, we're much richer for the experience. God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. They should be used in that proportion. I'm not going to carpet bomb the lawns with political signs. Don't believe in it. Never got any votes from me when I saw them. So I would just like people to be decent to each other. And I think that you have a good choice of candidates here. I'd like to thank them. They're all quality people. 3 of them I know pretty well. And one other thing about the narcotic opioid addiction, one of my good friends here in Plymouth Township lost his daughter at 16 years of age to that horrible thing. And so I want to again thank you, League of Women Voters, all of your help and efforts in putting this together. Thank you.
Thank you. John, you're next.
Thank you, Carrie. Thank you, Jackie, for 8 emails reminding me of the session tonight. My 3 points to ask for your vote: proven, only candidate with perfect attendance at township meetings, trusted, 100% voting record in support of police and fire and voting in the best interest of the people, and experienced constituent relations. And I hope I'm not the only candidate here who has attended the senior citizen meetings at Friendship Station in Lake Point. If I am, you're missing out on a lot of fun. I would like to inspire each of you to create a positive vision for the future for the people of Plymouth Township. I want to end again with my words that I have seen happen in Holland, Michigan, my mother's ancestral home. This is Plymouth Township. We work together, we build community. Our future is bright, and we get to live here, folks.
Thank you. Next up is Angela. You're muted.
Sorry, I lost my screen for a minute there. So I would just like to say that my dedication to the township runs deep. And despite my being a transplant, I've proven over and over again that my commitment and is my word. I do what I say. So I would like to just channel the dedication into serving as a trustee and putting the needs of the community at the forefront. This area boasts an array of attractions. It's appealing to many, many people, but I want it to remain that way. I don't want it to be always a fight over industrialism and development. So we want to be welcoming, and it's evident that change at the township level is overdue. So it requires progressive, forward-thinking trustees who authentically represent our diverse community and our willingness to be a diverse community. Having observed the division, I believe that active participation is the most effective pathway to enact meaningful change. With that being said, I just really want to keep things positive. I'm not a politician. I don't have loftier goals than this local community. And with that, I would just like to say to the voters, please remember to vote with your conscience, vote with your heart, look at your surroundings, look what is going on in your backyard. I need to do it just as much, but I want people to see that change is overdue and collaboration and cohesiveness is number one.
Thank you, Angela. Michael, you're up next.
Okay, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting us tonight and keeping us on track, and especially Carrie and Jackie. I just like to ask for everybody's vote come November for Plymouth Township Trustee. I have over 25 years of professional experience, sort of been in the community for 20 years, and with increasing levels of support for first education and then volunteering. I bring a level of professionalism and a willingness to compromise to the board. And that's really what it is about, is balancing all of the different stakeholders' needs and doing what's best for the community, listening to residents, respecting business owners and their rights to build businesses that help and support our community, but within the guidelines that and the policies that the township sets. So I would hope you consider me for your vote come November, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up is Jen.
Hi, yes, thank you so much for having me on today. It's been a pleasure to be able to get across, who I am and what I'm about, and why I'd like to serve on the township. At the end of the day, I think humble leadership is what we need on our board. And we have had, yes, there has been some dissension. There's been some civil discourse that has been less than desirable on the board. And I do think that how we vote can affect those ways that we come together. But for me and my family, we are a humble and faithful, service-oriented family. We're here for the community. I'll never forget, as a military widow, when I got that knock on the door, how many people came to my door, my community, my people. They came to me, they provided meals for me, they lifted me up, and we need to get back to that. That's why I founded the Veterans Commission, because that's just one area, one part where I can give back and give my service to the community so that we can rally together behind each other. If anything should happen, should there be another pandemic again, we'll get to know one another. We'll be outdoors and talking with one another. And really, at the end of the day, that is what this is about. It's about community and how to best serve our community. Yes, I'm a Republican, but I'm probably one of the people on the board because I'm able to get along with everybody. And John knows that because I have to sit between him and Bob Dorshevitz. So I play nice with the two of them, and we all get along.
Thank you, Jen.
More of that. Thank you so much.
Audrey, you're next.
First of all, I want to thank everyone, lovely ladies that put this on. We do appreciate it. I also want to thank everyone who comes on and actually reviews this and gives you some, inclination as to who we are and what our views are all about. I I think humility is probably one of the most greatest gifts that someone could have in their life. I grew up in Taylor, Michigan, so I know diversity. I also know that when you're being discriminated against, I came out here so that my children could have even a better life. I had a great life there because I had parents who cared. My dad served as a councilman and as a councilman for many, many years, oftentimes being on the side of only himself because he wasn't a yes man. I am honest, I am dependable, and most of all, I'm free thinking. So no one who knows me, if you don't know me, you may not know that. But if you know me, you know that I speak my mind. I try to be, positive about it. I try to be professional, but I don't give you lip service just because that's what you want to hear. That's not how I was raised. That's not a good thing. I still have to speak to God. We're all trying to get to heaven here. And we have to be honest to ourselves. So for you voters, I would appreciate it if you would consider placing me back as a trustee for the next 4 years. I hope that you like the work that I have done thus far. I'm not perfect, but I also recognize that we have a great community here that's worth going out another 4 years for. Thank you.
We thank the League of Women Voter members who helped participate with this forum. The forum has been recorded and can soon be viewed on the League's website, lwvnorthwestwayne.org. Please note that ownership of the recording or transcript resides with the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. The candidates or their supporters may not use portions of the forum or any audio clips, video clips, or transcripts for political advertising or other purposes without the written permission of the League of Women Voters of Northwest Wayne County. We also thank the candidates who are running for office. They are asking for your support as they seek a job in the public service sector, and we hope voters will listen to their views. We also appreciate the voters in Plymouth Township who are watching this forum to learn about their choices. All of the candidates were also invited to participate in the League of Women Voters Voter Guide, a publication that you can access online by visiting vote411.org. A hard copy of the voter guide will be available for the November election and will be delivered to the local libraries. The League of Women Voters is providing this forum as an opportunity for candidates to express their views related to their candidacy. Statements expressed by the candidates are not endorsed nor opposed by the League of Women Voters. The League of Women Voters does not certify any candidate's responses to the questions as accurate. Voters are encouraged to fact-check information shared at the forum. Primary election day is August 6, 2024. If you are not registered to vote, you can do so up through election day. Within 14 days of the election, registration must be done at the office of your township clerk. The polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., but all registered voters can vote early by absentee ballot or at an early voting site. Remember that you must first fill out and return an absentee ballot application to the township clerk before a ballot can be mailed to you. If you need an absentee ballot application, contact your township clerk. This concludes our forum this evening. Thank you, candidates, for participating. And
Thank you.
Thank you.